In this video, we will show how to create vectors in Tecplot for Barracuda. We will show the vectors in a thin geometry that is only one cell thick. When visualizing vectors, we recommend using value blinking in order to show only one cell thickness in the area of interest. So first, you're going to want to turn off the scatter layer and then turn on the vector layer. It'll bring up this Select Variables dialog, and if for some reason that doesn't pop up automatically, you can always click here and it will pop up. For this example, we'll be using fluid velocity UVW for the UVW components, but all of the variables that you've selected are available. We'll click OK. And the vectors aren't showing up quite yet. We need to turn them on in the zone style. If we go to the Vector tab and we click on Show Vector, now the vectors are shown. So the vectors are plotted at the nodes by default, but the vector components are calculated at the cell's center. So we can see if we turn this that there is two distinct rows of vectors. We can change the location of the vectors from node to cell centers by clicking on the Points tab and right-clicking on Surface Nodes and changing it to All Cell Centers. And then that moves the location of the vectors to the cell center, and now you can see that there is only one layer of vectors in the middle of the cell there. It can be helpful to color the vectors by a variable. In the Vectors tab, you can right-click on Line Color, and then there's all these different colors that you can choose, but if you'd like to color the vectors by a variable, click on Multi-1, and this will bring up a contour legend here. If we double-click on that contour legend, then we can change the variable to fluid velocity magnitude, which will then color the vectors by their fluid velocity magnitude. To change more aspects of the vectors, we can look here in this Vector tab. We can change the head style, the line pattern, the line thickness even, or we can return to the vector details dialog, and we can change the length of the vectors so that the higher magnitude vectors have longer tails. We could also change the length or size of the arrowheads as well. And there's also reference vector if you'd like to show that as well. This concludes this video on creating vectors in Tecplot for Barracuda.